Good evening, everyone. And today is the 11th here in Europe, the 11th of January. And we continue with our vigil, simply noting that the forces which threaten violence for the inauguration on the 20th are operating behind the scenes and with an insistence that should there be an evocation of the amendment number 25, which deals with the incapacitation of the president, there will be a huge uprising. There are many hate groups involved, and they are planning to return to Washington. I read somewhere on the 17th, but for certain by the time the inauguration occurs. The latest mantra concerning them, put forward by the extremists, is Trump or war. They are eager for a civil war. I mentioned the other day the names of certain types of monads. One type is a Martian type of monad related to the beast, the 666, and these types are called the recurring sons of war. They seem to be, a lot of reincarnated rebels of the kind that took over Germany some 90 years ago or 85 years ago, and of the kind that were involved in the Civil War 160 years ago in the United States. There are also a group of monads called the cyclic sons of peace, and they are far more involved with the planet Venus. We have to place some faith in the presence of them. Meanwhile, there is hesitation on the part of the Vice President, Pence. I talked to you yesterday about his chart and the strong possibility that the moon is actually in Cancer and that he's not a double Gemini, and with those very deep-set eyes, you probably will see the sign Scorpio being prominent. So exactly what he will do, I think he's given something like 24 hours to make his decision. Already, there have been submitted, or there have emerged, the articles of impeachment. The question is, will it come to a vote, which it will pass, or will Pence decide that in consultation with certain members of the cabinet, that the president is unfit for the task? We've seen all kinds of withdrawal of prerogatives from the president. We've seen sponsors and donors pulling back. We've seen the what is it? What is the name of his platform that he uses? Um, anyway, Twitter. That's it. We've seen that withdrawn and other platforms withdrawn from him and from his bad faith representatives who are thinking only selfishly. We've seen calls for the resignation mounting, for Trump's resignation and for the resignation uh, of two of the Senate members who have been instrumental in conducting or promoting a vote against the electoral colleges. And yes, Rudolph Giuliani is threatened with disbarment, and such a fall from the time that the 9/11 occurred and he was called America's mayor. But for whatever reason, he has chosen to side with Trump, and I suppose $20 million of inducement did not hurt. So behind all of these threats, there are real movements. We talked about Mars, Uranus, and the 12th house at the time of inauguration, and though that oftentimes connects with hidden sources of explosion, Saturn in Aquarius does square that conjunction, so at least that's something concerning security. But there are those who are in charge of security who are genuinely worried. And I'm sure that sniper hunters are out trying to make sure that there can be no perch from which the president-elect or vice president-elect are endangered. So it has also been emerging that the insurrection, the attack on at least our temple of democracy, was much worse than originally uh, displayed. It was a brutal scene, and I'm sure that the senators and members of the House who were spirited away to a safe place, that they have seen now some of these intensifying pictures. They are allowing the photographs to come out now and the videos, which at first did not appear, and they are really horrific. So that probably has something to do with the growing crescendo for some sort of removal from office, even as a symbolic gesture, um, which is gathering steam in both houses. But we have to see, there are many difficult decisions to be made regarding that. In any case, if Article 25, Section 4 is not invoked, the 25th Amendment, then the impeachment will go through. But the trial following the impeachment is the problem. And there's probably not time to do it, nor the forces on the Republican side to make sure that 2/3 of the Senate votes for, in the trial, the impeachment. And if too long is, if there is a delay, let's say waiting for the first 100 days of Biden to bring through at least some aspects of his program, it will become a moot point, because then how can you impeach a president who is no longer a sitting president? I don't know the rules on that, and I'm sure it's all subject to interpretation and to opinionated vote. So it's a very sticky situation, very difficult, and very important for the rise of totalitarianism in the world. If the battle is lost here, if damage, injury, or death should come to the president or the vice president-elect and to the many holders of high office who will be at the inauguration proceedings before the Capitol, if that should happen, there's no telling what kind of civil war could arise out of that. So this is all by way of saying we have our responsibility and keen responsibility. I think the most important thing is that in that perimeter surrounding the Capitol and the seats that have been erected for the inauguration proceedings, that there be safety, security for those who are involved. And that, I think, will be a huge task. The White House and the Supreme Court, yes, are involved, of course. We've been invoking angelic assistance, and you've probably seen some use of the magic of the four corners that Tuya has been leading us in the meditations. We need that angelic protection, and that the mind of every one of us is focused on the security of the coming vice president and president and the many dignitaries who are in high places of government who will be there. Some very bloody plans are being hatched, and some of them are taking place right out in the open and are using words like kill, murder, force, etc. So this is a continuation of the insurrection. Now let's take a look. I don't want to speak too long. I just want to take a look here at okay. And here's Jesse. Always seem to be pretty well informed about the news, Jesse. Congress considering Section 3 of the 14th Amendment might apply to the dweller in the White House. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. I think the articles of impeachment, as applied to the president, name incitement of insurrection. And there's no question that there are guilty Republican senators who have betrayed their oath of office. So we have the link, and maybe the really dangerous thing is how widely this could spread with simultaneous armed protests planned in the 50 state capitals. And you've given us the link for that, or any number of those capitals. It really would be the onset of a kind of externalized civil war. Already a psychological civil war exists. So here's what you're saying: armed protests are being planned at all 50 state capitals. That's an FBI bulletin which is saying the FBI received information about an identified armed group intending to travel to Washington, D.C. on 16 January. The bulletin read, they have warned that if the attempts to remove the POTUS, the President of the United States, via 25th Amendment, then a huge uprising would occur. Well, I think we have no reason to doubt numbers that can be assembled when we saw the thousands be on the steps of the Capitol, and so many, was it hundreds even, entering the Capitol. So these are very sobering thoughts. Jan is saying the Sabian symbol for the degree in Taurus with the Mars-Uranus conjunction on Inauguration Day is interesting. A woman of Samaria at the ancient well. I think the Christ revealed to her past and asked her to go and sin no more. And here's Jose. Let's see, what do we have here? I want to, yeah. Here is Jose's statement. A constitution aims at prescribing legal behavior and proscribing, forbidding, that is, criminal behavior. Important points. A code of ethics aims at promoting right and at discouraging wrong behavior. To discern right from wrong is not the domain of the Constitution. That's why we need to upgrade the standards of government from legal to ethical conduct. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that are presently doable as legal, though unethical. Until then, the hierarchy of masters of wisdom and compassion cannot externalize, and the Christ cannot reappear in a democracy. Well, this is all part of the Plutonic house cleaning and the application of right spiritual will, which must precede the reappearance of the Christ, the time when he determines that it is right conditionally, in terms of conditions to reappear. Thank you, Jose. The District of Columbia mayor is asking the feds to cancel demonstration permits to secure the election. And that would be one more measure of safety. Jose from Jesse, agree with you on ethical conduct completely. Going on, Jose, speaking of Agni Yoga, the new yoga of the new group of world servers, also known as the yoga of ethical action, is the karma. Make sure you're yeah, please keep the mute on until you would be speaking. Is also known as the ethical action, the yoga of ethical action. Is the karma yoga of living ethics. And you know what's so interesting about this yoga of synthesis? Master DK said Master Moria has introduced the new Agni Yoga of synthesis from the first ray perspective, and that DK himself was attempting to introduce the yoga of synthesis from the second ray perspective. Whatever other help he has received through initiates and disciples, this was one of his tasks. So anyway, Jose, going on, the practice of Agni Yoga counters the malignant influence of unethical conduct in our society and promotes the upgrading of our current legal, i.e. constitutional standards. No doubt, and when is it that people will be ready for some measure of spiritual occultism? HBB speaks of it winning the day by the end of this century. What will that mean? And finally, that is, I think, what is finally there. Is there anybody that wishes to speak? If so, you can unmute yourself and speak. Otherwise, we'll be, I think, getting into the meditation, as I say, in which, from my perspective, protection of the process, possibly through occult color work and other methods, is strongly warranted.
Michael, I just add here that we have been taking today the violence into this glamour meditation. If you want to say something about that.
Well, you know, the glamour of resort to violence is a Martian condition within the astral body. Now, in order to subdue the astral body, 3 planets are needed uh, in their effect: Venus, Neptune, and Jupiter. All of them have a very strong second ray component, and basically one can take the second initiation if those planets are rightly influential within the astral body. However, the usual condition of the average human astral body has to do with the lower point in the solar plexus, as given in some of the, I think, meditation number 2 in Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 2. The lower point in the solar plexus is a Martian point and has to do with relatively ordinary, low desire, egotistical desire. And it will be one of those planets which, not thoroughly defeated at the second degree, will be significantly defeated at the second degree, so that the tendency towards selfishness is to a certain extent overcome. So we seem to have at this second degree and before it the Mars-Pluto issues, controlled by Vulcan growing ever stronger, spiritual will, and finally the appearance of Venus with its ultimate second-ray monad, Neptune with its second-ray monad, and Jupiter with its second-ray soul, reconditioning the astral body. And we need, that's part of the protection that these violent Martian types, at least some of them, will be forced to think about whether they really want to do what they're planning to do, because if they do, lives will be lost, and certainly on their own side as well. So there are fanatic types that say that the demigod Trump is worth dying for. So irrational can the astral body be, and yet at the same time, maybe some degree of the rose light will help bring a degree of sanity into the situation. And yet there are many plans to basically start a civil war. So we have our work persistently cut out for us. Okay, I think we're there.
Okay, welcome to everybody to meditation, and this is again based upon the clamor meditation, and then we have some additional aspects. We will communicate also, contact Master R, and then we will work with rose light, and then we have in clamor dissipation of clamor of violence. And then also we continue our work with the angels, that we call upon their protection. But let us all turn in for a while and just be in a quiet place within ourselves. And if we remember how DK was emphasizing that when we are working with the with colors, and when we are working also with protection, that we make sure that our physical body is relaxed, and our emotional state is also poised. And our mental body is also calm. We reflect our inner place, our pose that we are holding. As a group, we are standing around the governmental triangle. Connecting with our co-workers, our triangle members, and thus the network of light around the globe. Let us contact our soul and make the triangle between soul, mind, and physical brain, so that there is a free inflow from the higher self. We align with the solar angel and the solar angel of United States. And the Dharma, I light the way. Let us reflect now the situation in the United States. We try to understand about the karmic situation. We try to understand the reasons and all of those inner unseen channels that this negativity is entering in. Let us have our alignment with the Master R. Reflect under his light and communicate with him. Let us align and reflect the mission of the Christ to bring heaven to earth. Consciously knowing that we are preparing the way for His return. Let us dedicate ourselves in His name. We have gathered in your name, Lord Maitreya, be with us. Welcome His presence. We remind ourselves, wherever two or more are gathered, there am I. Wherever two or more are gathered in my name, there am I. Let us perform now very strong mudra abhaya, fearlessness. You can lift either both arms or hands or only one, the right one. And we imagine how the group is standing, holding this mudra. Mudra, the speech of will, speech of deity, which is manifesting always that quality. We know hierarchy stands, and so are we standing on this side of the veil, holding fearlessness. Remember, the Christ said many times, do not fear. Being alignment with the soul, we now invoke and call upon the rose light, which is the higher aspect of the sixth ray, bringing into aspiration and calming down. We invoke the rose light and see it now descending through the soul of United States, pouring into the three cities, centers, via New York, the throat center, via Los Angeles, the heart center, and via Washington, the head center. Into the governmental triangle and the whole country. Let us hold this vision for 2 minutes. Beautiful rose light calming down heated astral body and bringing it into alignment with the soul. Om. See the aura of White House completely filled with the rose light. The aura of Capitol completely with rose light. Supreme Court. And let us visualize that all the workers who are working under the soul impulse, women and men of goodwill, are being strengthened and the quality of fearlessness is empowering everyone to now do their duties. And we may release Abhaya Mudra. We move now into the clamor meditation, and we strongly unite the group, and we sound everyone's name. So when you hear the name, send the beam of love from your heart. And let us work for the group fusion. Michael, Anne, Arjo, Astra, Barbara, Carl, Catherine, Cindy, Debo, Diane, Diane Chong, and Diane Ute, Dilara, Elizabeth, Eva, Frances, Francois, Gary, Georgie, Heike, Jan, Jessie, Joe, Joanne, Joke, Jose, Joseph, Julie, Karen Kitska, Karen Johansen, Catherine, Lee, Linda, Linda Woodward, Lorraine, Margie, Maria Elena, Maria Rosa, Marianne, Miro, Nesta, Risto, Steph, Tia, Vivienne, Yvonne, Winnie, Anne, and Tuya. The protective formula. We are now going to perform the cross of divinity, forming that from forehead to heart, left eye to right eye, while we utter the affirmations. And let us touch the forehead and say, as a soul, I work in light, heart, and darkness cannot touch me. Left eye, I take my stand within the light. Right eye, I work, and from that point, I never move. We now have formed the magical, the cross of divinity, which is shining forth in front of us. And see how the group, everyone has this cross in front of them. The 3 preparatory stages. 1. Let us now focus upon the dual light of matter, or etheric, physical, and mind, or mental, light in the chitta. The dual light of etheric, physical, and the light, mental light. Light of chitta. 2. Let us meditate now upon the soul contact. Visualize and recognize the soul light. And see it descending upon the mental plane. And 3, see the fusion of these 2 lesser lights with the soul light, the light of reason in the mental body, the fusion of the dual light of etheric, physical, and the light of the mind with the soul light. Let us say together, the light is one, and in that light shall we see light. This is the light that turns the darkness into day. Oh. The formula. Visualize now the great searchlight, which is the fusion of these two lesser lights with the soul light, which we now have created. This strong light, and let us turn it upon the astral plane. And we say together, radiance are we and power. We stand forever with our hands stretched out, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding. Thus with the light we work and turn the darkness into day. We are now ready to use the weapon of light. Let us pause a moment. We hold that searchlight. It has been turned upon the astral plane. And now we invoke spiritual will by using the Antakarana. Keep the light upon astral plane and inwardly turn vertically. Sense the interplay between the sacrifice petals, synthesis petals, atmic plane of spiritual will and monad. When we work in this field of dangerous places, we have to have this strong alignment, vertical alignment in our consciousness. We are aware of our highest aspect of our being. We use the being which has been generated. We are standing as a great army of implacable spiritual will. In the silence of a loving heart, we say, with power upon its beam, the light is focused on the goal. The clamor to be dissipated is violence. We throw the light upon the clamor of violence, which has now been rising its head. And we work very carefully, standing strongly together and hold the searchlight upon the astral plane and upon the clamor of violence, and say the words of power. The power of our united light prevents the appearance of the clamor of violence. The power of our united light negates the quality of the clamor of violence from affecting humanity and the groups in the United States. The power of our united light destroys the life behind the clamor of violence. The group is standing within the will. The protective cross of divinity is shining forth through the group. We visualize the light, searchlight of dual light with the soul light, penetrating into the clamor of violence, into this vast overshadowing vampire, through which the Black Lord's works, leading millions into hatred, separation, and against the law of love, vitiating human living and all hierarchical planning. We are now going to have 5 minutes of silence. During the silence produces the weakening and dissipation of the clamor of violence. 5 minutes of silence. And let us focus still within the governmental triangle. We throw our searchlight upon the violence, and particularly we focus upon capital. We see that the clamor of violence has weakened and is dissipated. We realize the intensity of purpose has deepened, whilst the work was seen proceeding. Great invocation number 2. Let us say together, and Michael will lead us.
Let the Lords of Liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of men. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and coming save. Come forth, O Mighty One. Let the souls of men awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of woe has come. Come forth, O Mighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, O Mighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, O Mighty One, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end.
We now turn away our attention from the astral plane. Let us refocus again back upon the mental plane. The searchlight of the soul is shut off. Also the group searchlight. Now we work for a while with the angels. Let us call the protective forces of light, guardians of justice, Archangel Michael and his saving force, to create wall of protective energies. To keep all illegal actions, all violent actions in leash, under the will of God. Visualize Archangel Michael standing above the governmental triangle, protecting the Christ. The Christ consciousness and the Christ principle. We are working now with all 3 points of the triangle. We call upon the protection from the White House. Visualize how 3 great angels emanates from Archangel Michael and stand above the 3 points. White House, Capitol, and Supreme Court. We call guardians, the protective angels, into 4 corners of the White House. capital, we call for guardian angels to keep all illegal actions, all violence under the control of the will of God. May the capital be protected in all corners, every doorway, every place. The Supreme Court, we call the guardians to 4 directions. We visualize that the governmental triangle has strong help from angel kingdom. And we call also the angels of the Christ to come and protect people in every states, the good angels, as Biden was pointing. It's the time of the good angels to invoke the good angels. May the angels help during these coming days. Help in this transition time when also Pluto is moving into its states in the inauguration chart. 1776. These are challenging times, but hierarchy stands. Let us visualize that the light of hierarchy is shining behind us, and we here on the other side of the veil, we hold our position. The band of brothers and sisters who are standing now within the ring of implacable spiritual will. We will stand. And the clarion is heard. It echoes to every corner. We are standing for the good law. We are standing for the plan of the soul of United States. We are standing for the new dawn to United States, but also to whole humanity. And we are standing as they are standing. May thy will be done. Thank you, dearest friends.